Hey guys, it's Grant with McKee Fishing and Outdoors, and today we're going to teach you the 3 steps it takes to get you vertical jigging for walleyes like a pro. Hey guys, just want to welcome you back to the channel, and if you're new to the channel, welcome in. My name is Grant McKee. I'm a tournament angler with the MWT, and today we're going to talk about the 3 steps to get you jigging like a pro on the Detroit River or any other river system. So tip number 1 we're going to talk about is gear, rod, reel, line. 2, we're going to talk about boat control, which is very important for vertical jigging. And 3, we're going to talk about cadence or tempo. How fast are you jigging it? How much are you lifting it off the bottom? That can very much determine whether you're going to have a great day out on the water or you're not going to catch nothing. So let's crack straight into it. So obviously, number 1 is gear. So for vertical jigging, you want to have, a 5/8 to 6/3 rod. This is very important because vertical jigging, the whole premise is that you're going to have your line has to be vertical. Your jig has to be right below the boat. So you want a shorter rod to keep that distance from where you're fishing to where your jig is shorter, so it's easier to stay vertical and stay on those fish, because that jig needs to be going up and down or else you are going to have a hard time. The main thing about this, let me grab my rod. So my setup I like to run is a St. Croix Avid 5/8 heavy power. So this is very specific to the Detroit River, which is very heavy current, and you use big jigs out on the Detroit River. So this is a 1-ounce jig. So I like 5/8 because it's very short. Like I said, you can stay close to the boat. It helps you stay vertical, and you're just able to stay vertical a lot easier. It just helps your boat control so that you can stay vertical, get that jig going straight up and down off the bottom, and you can feel bottom a lot easier, and you're just going to hook up with more fish with a shorter rod. Next thing I want to talk about is the reel. You want a 1,000 size reel. You want your overall setup to be very light. So this reel here is a Pacific Sun Carbon X. This is their 1,000 size, and it only weighs about 4 ounces. This reel is great for vertical jigging. It keeps the setup very light, and the setup balances very well. That's what you want. You want this to balance because you want to be able to feel this jig on the bottom at all times. Knowing that you're on the bottom is very important. Vertical jigging, you need to be touching bottom. So 1,000 size reel, 5/8 rod to 6/3. Heavy or medium heavy, it's all depending on what type of jig. If you're a slower moving river, you're going to need a 1/2-ounce jig. You're going to go to a lighter rod, like a medium. If you're doing 1-ounce jigs, deep water, you want heavy. You want the backbone. You want this thing to be heavy, extra fast. Your jigging rods, you want them all to be extra fast. You want that tip to load up right away, because you're just going to jerk that jig right in that fish's mouth. Next thing you want braid. The reason why you want braid is there's no stretch. You're not gonna, because a lot of times, like Detroit River, you're jigging in 40, 50 feet of water. You want that braid to not, since braid doesn't stretch, you're gonna be yanking that hook through that fish. You're gonna feel that bite immediately, and when you pull it, that bait's gonna go through. Another thing you want to do is you want a fluorocarbon leader on your jig, and I use like 6 to 8 pound just because I like to keep it light. Sometimes in a lot of pressure situation, a lot of pressured fish, they like the lighter line. That's great. Fluorocarbon is a must. You can't use mono. Mono stretches too much. Fluorocarbon is very low stretch, if no stretch at all. It's a great line to use as a leader for your jigs. And that's the gear you need to vertical jig. Whether you're on the Detroit River, Saginaw River, any river, This is what you would need to vertical jig. Next thing we're going to talk about is boat control. So for boat control, you're going to want to use your bow mounted trolling motor to keep your boat control. And the whole point of your boat control is the river's going to be pushing you this way, downstream, and your boat's going to be sitting like this, and you want to keep that jig vertical. You want your line straight up and down. You don't want your line coming in towards the boat. You don't want your line going out away from the boat. You want your line as vertical as possible, so then you're lifting that jig straight up off the bottom. Just like this. So the bottom, you want to come straight up and down off the bottom. It helps you feel bottom if you have good boat control. Helps you keep that jig up and down. Really helps you catch a lot of fish. Boat control is a big thing that you need to master when vertical jigging for walleyes. And the best way to think about it is, if your line's straight down, you're perfect. Don't touch your trolling motor. If your line is coming in towards your boat, you need to turn your head and push the bow of that boat to the left. If your line's going out away from the boat, you need to go and chase your line. The whole point is you're going to be chasing your line with that bow mount. You want to be following that line until your line is straight up and down. That's very important because, if, like I said, you won't be able to feel bottom if you're not up and down. You'll have way too much line, you'll be snagged more, you'll lose more jigs. You need to be vertical when jigging for walleyes. And now, step number 3, and we're going to talk about cadence. And when I say cadence, I mean how fast are you lifting that jig off the bottom? And this can change very much system to system, day by day, but I'm going to talk about the Detroit River, which I'm very familiar with. I've fished tournaments on it a bunch of times, and that's just what I'm most familiar with. So Detroit River, a lot of times those fish, you're fishing deep water, 40, 30 foot, and maybe even up to 20 foot, 15 foot. Those fish like it low and slow. That is the name of the game in Detroit. You want it low and slow. You want to be on bottom and just lift it maybe an inch or two off bottom and then go back down. You want it to be low and slow like this. You can even mix in a hold, an up and hold, and those fish will smash it. But then there's also times where you need to just be whipping, you just need to be jerking it off the bottom. I'm not saying like you're just like setting the hook like you're a bass fisherman. I'm saying just quick pops, just pops. You're not going more than an inch or two off the bottom. You're just going to do quick pops, just pop, pop, pop. And a lot of times that can get those fish riled up. And it's something different. A lot of people might be going low and slow. And if you don't see people catching stuff with a certain cadence, you need to try something different. That's the name of the game. Cadence is all about what the fish want that day, what you're feeling, and what they're going to bite. Because some days, like I said, most of the time it's low and slow. But I've had times where everybody in my boat was going low and slow, and I'm doing quick little pops, quick little rips off the bottom. And those walleyes are coming up and smashing that jig. So you need to stay open-minded and try anything. I mean, cadence is very important. It's gonna make your day or it's gonna break your day if you don't have the cadence right. These are the 3 things that are gonna make or break your day on the Detroit River or any other body of water vertical jigging. So if you like the content, go check out my video over here on how to troll walleyes on the Great Lakes. And if you're new here or you're not already, please hit the subscribe button. It's very much appreciated. I hope you go out there and you catch tons of fish. Thanks.